The recent debates, policy directions, and rhetoric about trans people are not driven by a desire to end the existence of trans people. It is a moral panic, and it should be understood and framed as a moral panic. This is not an issue that is going to be resolved through reason and debate about the existence or rights of trans people. It is only a widespread public and political issue because it generates debate. Or in other words, it generates clicks and it generates division. I've always found the controversy around gender, LGBT and trans issues as a large-scale public issue to be quite bizarre. I genuinely don't care how you identify, who you are attracted to, or what kind of relationship you find yourself in. It's really none of my business and makes no difference to my life. It's strange to me that this is such a dominant public issue. What's happened here is that the media have managed to turn the issue of other people's gender, relationships and sexuality into an issue of threat. Over time, factions form and advocacy groups commit to representing one side or the other. Individuals begin to identify as supporting one side or the other, and all of those people engage with, click, comment, share, whatever is published about this constructed issue. It becomes an opportunity to increase political capital, so opposition parties seek to gain support for their wider programme by advocating for one side or the other. This then creates a threat for the government, who face pressure to create laws to protect people. Of course, the various sides of the debate each have their own definition of what and who needs protecting, leading to a situation where a government is damned if they do and damned if they don't. The result is a renewed set of sensationalist headlines, arguments, threats, political rhetoric, and an even more divided public. And the cycle continues. I do recognise the need for advocacy, support and solidarity. I am in support of trans people. As I said, I don't actually care how you identify or live your life, and I do respect whatever choice you make or situation you are in. But this cycle is self-perpetuating. It exists because it is divisive. It produces engagement and feeds political aims. As long as it continues to do that, it will be exploited as such. It's worth noting that society has long been structured around fixed ideas of gender. Much of everyday life assumes a binary norm. Trans visibility challenges that norm, and this can feel disruptive to some. That perceived disruption makes it easier to present trans people as controversial. I'm not denying that many individuals genuinely believe trans people should not exist. These include some on the far right, some religious fundamentalists, and some feminists who see trans identities as incompatible with their understanding of womanhood. These views are real, but they are also disproportionately amplified and reinforced. Without the media and political reinforcement, there would be few and far between. Most people would not be engaged in this debate at all. What gives them reach and influence is the wider system that benefits from keeping the issue alive and divisive. It's also important to recognise that the impact on trans people is not abstract. It's real. It shapes laws, access to services, and everyday life. There are very real harms that trans people face due to their existence. But I maintain that this isn't driven primarily by concerns about trans people existing as trans people, at least not at the source. Those driving this divisive wedge through society benefit from the existence of trans people because their presence can be used to construct controversy. Their existence creates the potential for profit and political capital. We are seeing exactly the same dynamics driving rhetoric and policy surrounding immigration. I don't know what the solution is. Trans people will continue to be exploited until their exploitation no longer leads to engagement and political capital. And that only happens if people disengage. I do recognise that disengaging would, at least in the short term and probably the long term, lead to real harm for trans people. However, I do think it's important to recognise that what is driving this problem is not actually a socially organic, widespread rejection of trans people, but rather outrage that is constructed to profit from division by manipulating a predictable and easily influenced public. The public could be encouraged to support trans people more fully, using the same methods currently utilised to stoke division and hatred. Unfortunately, there is less potential for profit or political capital in encouraging unity.